Good evening and welcome to Newsnight. Hours after President Akufo-Addo launched the Accelerated Road Construction Project, dubbed District Road Improvement Program, minority in Parliament are demanding the full cost of the equipment to be distributed under the program.
Of 2,240 units, includes motor graders, backhoes.
We have details of that.
We were assured that the MPs and the DCs will together chair the management committee that will be formed.
Plus, we have the presidential slip of tongue.
Since January 2017 till date, i.e. in the Akufo-Addo Mahama Bawumia era, that's unforgivable.
Also this evening, Chairman of Parliament's Assurance Committee faces off with Lands and Natural Resources Minister on the first day of sitting as he describes as unacceptable the inability of the Lands Ministry to provide a list of state lands sold since 1993.
Particular political tenure ends, this list will be provided. So, Honourable Minister, you have to do better than that.
Also tonight,
PP presidential candidate is going to win the election.
We will not sleep until Madam Jean Mensah named NDC as the winners.
And with less than 5 months to the December 7 polls, National Security Minister sounds the alarm on possible chaos, expressing deep worry over the eroding trust in the judiciary.
That obviously creates a security challenge for me, where I sit. We may, for the first time, experience a situation where none of the major political parties will be willing to explore the courts to address their grievances.
And in business, price of LPG also expected to witness some marginal reduction later this week.
And in sports, confusion rocks Team Nigeria after sprint star Favour Ofili left out of women's 100 meters at the Paris Olympics despite appearing on the final list submitted by the Athletics Federation of Nigeria.
Plus, sponsors of anti-LGBTQ bill to demonstrate against the Chief Justice on August 21 over what they deem as the delay in the process towards the transmission of the bill to the President.
As children of God and as Ghanaians, we know it is against our religion, it's against our culture. We want to do a peaceful march on the 21st of August to the Chief Justice. Because right now it's not the President that's holding it. It is the Chief Justice.
That and more in tonight's edition of Newsnight. You want to join us with your thoughts, your comments via WhatsApp 055-1111-997. I am Emefa Apau.
And my name is Evans Mensah. Details after this. And you're live here on Newsnight. It's on Joy 99.7 FM. Now, tonight, hours after President Akufo-Addo launched the Accelerated Road Construction Project, the District Road Improvement Program, the minority in Parliament, they are demanding the full cost of the equipment to be distributed under the program. The minority in an RTI request demanding the full cost of the construction equipment being distributed to various districts under the government's District Road Infrastructure and Improvement Program.
Well, some 5,000 Ghanaian construction workers are expected to gain direct jobs from government's Accelerated Road Construction Program that you've been talking about. The program, which is expected to begin immediately, will be solely funded by the District Assembly Common Fund. Another program, roads are expected to be patched and smoothing deplorable roads across the country. While addressing dignitaries before the launch, President Akufo-Addo said the intervention is proof of his administration's commitment to improving road infrastructure in Ghana. There's more in this report.
The District Road Improvement Program will be funded by the District Assembly Common Fund. Administrator of the fund, Irene Natoshi, assured that the equipment will strictly be dedicated to the purpose for which they were procured and not diverted to illegal mining sites.
We are committed to supporting this important initiative in the long haul to significantly improve the road networks at the district levels, to facilitate the free movement of goods and people.
Chief Executive Officer of the Jospon Group, Dr. Joseph Sian Ejapong, underscored the job creation opportunity the District Road Improvement Program will provide. He also announced that the next equipment to be purchased will be assembled locally.
The opportunities created through this program is very fast, and we're looking at 5,000 individuals, including drivers, operators, mechanics, welders, sprayers, janitors, and many others.
Meanwhile, District Chief Executive of North Dai in the Volta region, Edmond Atakujo, disagreed with the NDC MP for Kintampo North, Joseph Kwame Kuma, that the district's road improvement program is designed to win votes for the governing party in the December elections.
Nanado, you remember, was it Ayawaso? Where is Neil Lamte Vanderboy? Ododo. He mentioned Neil Lamte, and Neil Lamte won. His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, he's handing over to him. He has endorsed him. We like him or not.
He remains the former president, and then we'll make sure that we maintain you as a former president.
Nanado,
that's his title, and he belongs to that place.
At the commissioning of the over 2,000 units of equipment, President Akufo-Addo said the district road improvement program is proof of his administration's commitment to improving road network in Ghana.
This fleet of 2,240 units includes motor graders, backhoes, rollers, wheel loaders, bulldozers, tipper trucks, concrete mixers, water tankers, low beds, and other essential equipment manufactured by the reputable Chinese company, Lugong Group of Companies.
Meanwhile, there was the moment when President Akufo-Addo attempted to compare his records within the road sector to that of former President John Dramani Mahama, and this happened.
We've witnessed an extraordinary expansion and improvement in our road network throughout the country. From 2009 to 2016, that is the Mills-Mahama era, our nation completed 4,636 kilometers of roads and 5 interchanges and overpasses. However, since January 2017 till date, i.e. in the Akufo-Addo Mahama Bawumia era, that's unforgivable. That's unforgivable. I hope you will allow me to withdraw that statement. The Akufo-Addo Bawumia era.
Well, so that's Lateef Idris's report, and you heard there that, should I say, the biting moment that Akufo-Addo also had today. But Lateef Idris has returned from that program, and he joins us in studio. Really, the reaction to this particular issue that happened.
Yeah, so you know the members of parliament were invited for this particular program. We had members from the NDC and also the MPP both present. Now, when the president had this slip of tongue, you had GS from particularly the minority side of parliament who were present at the commissioning. Yeah. They kept interrupting the president's speech until he ended from when he made that slip. And members who were also present were also laughing at what the president, had done with regards to that particular slip.
But focusing more importantly on the improvement program, we're told it's starting immediately.
Immediately, and it's cutting across all the districts, municipalities across the country. And so there are low beds and all manner of road construction equipment. Every district municipality is going to benefit. And according to the president, potholes, drainage systems would all be properly taken care of as part of this particular program.
Okay, thank you very much, Lateef Idris. But there are concerns about the implementation of the program. Just hours after it was launched by the president, already some minority members have written to the Minister for Local Government and Rural Development, as well as the administrator of the District Assembly Common Fund under the RTI law, to demand the full cost of construction equipment being distributed to various districts under the government district's road improvement program. My colleague and also Parliamentary Affairs correspondent Kwekwa Santi joins us in studio with details of that particular request to these two agencies. What exactly are the concerns?
So it is signed by Honorable Muhammad on behalf of the entire minority caucus. It says, pursuant to Section 18 of the RTI Act, I write on the instructions of Honorable Dr. Kaselato Forsen, the leader of the NDC caucus in Parliament, to request the following information. A, the cost at which each unit of the equipment meant for the district road improvement program launched on Wednesday has been procured. B, the payment schedule for the equipment. C, the total payment in respect of the equipment as of now. And D, the total cost of the district road improvement program. We recall The Parliament approved funds under the Common Fund formula for the acquisition of this equipment. We also saw broadcasts of the launch of the drip on TV. We are, however, interested in knowing the prices at which equipment were procured. We noted the equipment include 6x4 tipper trucker, water tank truck, wheel loader, motor grader, and roller. So this is signed again by Mahama Ayarga on behalf of the NDC caucus in Parliament, addressed to both the administrator of the Common Fund and the local government minister.
Could stay with us. There are other stories we'd want to explore with you, but there are also demands for the inclusion of MPs in the management committee set up to manage this particular program. We can first listen to the deputy ranking member on the local government committee, Benjamin Bodo.
Per the Auditor General's report for 2018 to 2021, an amount of 3,573,580,684 represents shortfalls to the Common Fund releases. So this is the source of funding. This and any amount that will be accrued in 2022 to 2023 as shortfall in Common Fund releases would be applied to complete the following ongoing approved projects by Parliament, such as MMDA's assembly buildings, local government service training schools at Akumadan, the Institute of Local Government Studies at Madina and Tamale.
The one we want to turn to university.
To the university.
So you know that even those ones, it is Common Fund money
we have used to construct them. Courts and bungalow for the judiciary. Renovation and construction of RCCs. Office blocks, purchasing of lands for MMDA projects, construction of boreholes, fumigations, evacuation of landfill sites, purchase of street lights, desks and chairs for basic schools. Listen to this one. Drains and roads and procurement of earth-moving equipment for the MMDs.
Well, we can speak now to ranking member on the local government committee in Parliament, Neelanthi Vanderpoy, joins us right now. And thanks for your time here on Newsnight.
Thank you very much, Evans. How are you?
I'm doing great. And you asking that members of Parliament must be part of any process to manage this earth-moving equipment. Why?
Well, thank you very much, and thank you to your listeners. Let me say good evening to everyone. Evans, I was very happy in the morning when I went to the Independence Square for this ceremony because we wanted it to be as non-partisan as possible. Unfortunately, I left the place a bit disappointed because this particular initiative is not from the government, Evans. We, the members of the Local Government Committee of Parliament, together with the administrator of the District Assembly's Common Fund, started this initiative. We decided that the arrears that were outstanding to the DACF from the Ministry of Finance should be used to procure these things so that we could assist our assemblies to be able to maintain the roads in the various districts. Because the MPs were under intense pressure from their constituents in the districts for the maintenance of roads, especially the feeder roads in their districts. Because some of the roads have become very unmotorable and it was impeding development in the districts. But assemblies had no money at the time. So we put pressure on the Ministry of Finance to pay these arrears through from 2018 to 2022. And so when we're approving the formula, it wasn't easy because the members of Parliament wanted to know what we're going to use this 3.5 billion cedis arrears to be paid for. So we, the committee, had to justify the usage of that. And so we told the members of parliament that this is what we're going to do. So the committee of the whole decided that, okay, if that's what we are going to approve of this formula, and we're going to approve the acquisition of these materials, earth-moving materials, for road maintenance and construction in the various districts, then we, the members of parliament, will want to be part of the structure that will oversee the operations of this policy and program. The administrator of the Common Fund agreed with us. The last meeting with the Minister for Local Government, Decentralization and Rural Development, Martin Agyemensah, he also reiterated that the structure that have been agreed upon by the committee of the whole will be adhered to. Only for us today to go to the Independence Square and the president announced that the program was going to be under the direct authority and supervision of the MMDCs.
And what difference would it make to have the MPs on? I mean, the MMDs are directly responsible for development in the other districts.
Evans, a lot of difference, because you see, most of the time, the people down there don't know the DCs when it comes to development, when it comes to road maintenance, when it comes to this. It's the MPs that always bear the brunt of the anger of the people. Two, the assembly sometimes becomes so much under stress that they virtually depend on the MP's share of the common fund to carry out their programs and activities. So if these things, machines go, and the assembly hasn't got the money, now they have to fall on the MP to do this, to make sure. So the MPs have to be part of the operation in the first place, so that they will know the priority projects, the priority roads, and the areas that have to be taken care of in the interest of the people.
But you're a member of the assembly. You can find that out from the assembly. This assembly in your constituency can tell you that.
Evans, don't be pretentious in this. You have covered Parliament a lot. You've interacted with MPs a lot. You know what happens between the MPs and the DCs. We have situations where today some DCs are parliamentary candidates going to contest MPs, and a machine that the MPs have initiated to be procured is going to be put in the hands of that DCE to manage. What do you think will happen in the constituency, in the district?
What will happen?
You want to give that DCE advantage over the MP?
Well, finally on this, the minority side, we've seen a letter written under the RTI.
Let me end on this one. Let me also make this point. We made this point clear, and I want it emphasized. This same initiative was undertaken under John Dramani Mahama's government in 2016. We acquired the same machines. Those machines were taken over in 2017 by the Nana Addo Bawumia government. Even as we are talking today, we don't know where the machines are. They've not been accounted for. Nobody has mentioned about machines. We have asked severally in Parliament for accountability on those machines. Nothing has happened. And today we are going to operationalize another same initiative. Evans, don't you think it's fair that Ghanaians should be told what came out of that first initiative before this one is embarked upon?
And very quickly, because in the interest of time, whilst you want to be part of the management of these earth-moving equipment, the minority side is raising questions about how much was spent on it, the duration to pay, etc. How do you reconcile both positions? This is something independent of what you're asking for?
The earlier one was the local government committee, but the second one, the RTI issue, is the whole minority. But what we are asking for is all in the same interest: transparency and accountability.
Thank you very much. And that is Nilante van der Poy. He is a ranking member on the local government committee. And this is about you. It's about your districts. It's about development in your area. Tell me what you make of the 055-1111-997.
Now let's stay a while longer in Parliament, shall we? Because Chairman of the Parliament's Assurance Committee, Samuel Okudzeto-Ablakwa, he had his first sitting today as chairman in the seat, and he's been taking on the Lands and Natural Resources Ministry over its inability to supply to Parliament a list of state lands sold since 1993. The minority in February 2022 demanded a list of state lands sold since 2017, but the minister, Samuel Abujinapo, promised to actually supply a list dating back as far back as 1993. Now, responding to interrogations from Samuel Okudzeto-Ablakwa, the minister explained that the Lands Commission is still in the process of compiling the list, which he described as a very difficult process.
The answer I gave was that for us to have a fair appreciation of the public lands of our country and how they've been managed and utilized, it would be more useful and productive if we had the list from 1993, which is essentially in the course of the Fourth Republican Dispensation. As you know, Honorable Chair, the Lands Commission for all these years has been operating manually, and it's just recently that we've started making efforts to digitize the records of the Lands Commission. And so the information I have from the Commission, since I gave them the instructions to compile this list, is that compiling them from the 16 regions of the Lands Commission, the 16 regional Lands Commissions across the country from 1993 to now, is quite an extraordinary undertaking. And therefore, they've not been able to put it all together as yet. And so I'm unable to provide it now, but it's work in progress. And sooner rather than later, I hope, we'll be able to put all this together and we'll make it available to the committee.
Well, the chairman of the committee, Samuel Okudzeto-Ablakwa, described this development as worrying, insisting it is dangerous that the state does not have proper data on all state lands and those that have been sold.
3rd February 2022. It's been almost 2 years and a half. And it's the same response you gave us 2.5 years ago, that you need time to put it together. It is an extraordinary undertaking. 2.5 years. If you have not been able to put this list together, what assurance can we have? What's the guarantee that these few months between, today is 31st July, between now and January 6th, when the term of this current parliament and particular political tenure ends, this list will be provided. So, Honourable Minister, you have to do better than that. You have a reputation of being efficient and hardworking. This your response is not consistent with your reputation. So, Honourable Minister, you have to come back. This your response is not, it doesn't give confidence at all, and it doesn't align with your reputation. I just want to highlight the danger of we not having the records, the data that we are pursuing and requesting, which appears so elusive over the last 3 years. So, Honourable Minister, if this data is put together and is provided, it will help all of us. These instances of government lands being registered as private lands and the fraud that is going on at the Lands Commission, as exposed by the Sole Inquirer, the only way to stem this, to prevent this, to forestall this, is to have the data, to put the data together. That is why I am clear in my mind that there are elements at the Lands Commission who don't want the Ghanaian people to have this data.
So that's the first day of the Assurance Committee sitting under the chairmanship of Samuel Okudzeto-Ablakwa. Kweku, do we have any other ministries appearing before?
The expectation was that the Health Minister, Dr. Okuboy, would have been there, but the committee waited for him for almost an hour before he sent emissaries to say that he was having some other key business. You could see Okudzeto-Ablakwa very livid, but says he was not going to speak to the media for now, and that they will expect the minister to appear before the committee tomorrow. We expect that the roads minister, and in fact, he makes the most assurance because every MP keeps asking questions about roads, and so the minister for roads and highways will also appear before the committee tomorrow.
And then also, we know that sponsors of the anti-gay bill, they've issued some notices about a demonstration coming up.
Yes, we know that the Supreme Court deferred a decision on ruling on an injunction application. Two of them, they said that if they decided on that injunction applications, it would have been tantamount to deciding on the substantive cases, for which reason they say they will expedite the hearing. We know from yesterday the Supreme Court has gone on legal vacation. They'll be back at the end of September, which means there's no end in sight for the anti-LGBTQ bill, which is being held in abeyance. It has not landed on the desk of the president. Sam George and the sponsors of the bill say it is the Chief Justice that is delaying the bill. They say now it is not even the president that they're angry at. And so today they did call on the Chief Imam and also the acting president of the Osu Traditional Council ahead of a demonstration on August 21 to demand that the Chief Justice fast-track the processes and the legal disputes all resolved.
Which is a law to make it illegal in Ghana. Thankfully, in February this year, Parliament passed the bill. When Parliament passed the bill, it ought to go to the President for his approval. Since 28th of February, it's been one story after another. Now what we hear is that there's a court case. We said, okay, fine. Let's wait for the courts to rule on the case. The courts fixed 17th of July for the case, the injunction against Parliament. On the 17th of July, when we went to court, the Chief Justice now says that she's pushed the case towards the end of the year and she wants to hear the whole case, which can even go into next year before she even rules on the injunction. Meaning that till that is done, we can't have any headway with this bill that is law. As children of God and as Ghanaians, we know it is against our religion, it's against our culture. We want to do a peaceful march on the 21st of August to the Chief Justice. Because right now, it's not the president that's holding it. It is the Chief Justice. She's the one who is preventing Parliament from sending it to the president. So we don't have a problem with the president. We don't have a problem with the speaker. Our problem is with the Chief Justice. She's paid by our taxes. She says she's a Christian. The people of Ghana just want her to do what we pay her a salary for. Hear the case and give a judgment. If you give a judgment, if it goes one way or the other, we know where we stand. But if you don't give a judgment, we are all hanging in the air. So we've come to our Father again, because before we started this bill, we came to him for his prayers, guidance, and blessing. And we believe that that is what helped us to go through. Now, where we have gotten to, it's another battle ahead of us with the Chief Justice. And so we've come back to our Father to seek his blessings and his guidance and his advice and counsel as we go out on the 21st peacefully to ask the Chief Justice. It is not political. There is no political party color that will be there. Whether you are MPP, whether you are NDC, whether you are CPP, we all believe that this is wrong. Whether you are independent. So on that day, we're all going out with the Ghana flag because this is about Ghana. And we just want our Father's blessing and his advice on how we go about it. So if we are here today, this is why we've come.
And that there is Sam George, the MP for Ningo Prampram, announcing the demonstration on the 21st of August. Still ahead here on Newsnight, we'll take you to the climate focus, restoring Ghana's threatened trees with forest-centric strategies. Details of that after George is done with business. Hello, George. What's in the headlines?
Well, Evans, coming up, price of LPG also expected to witness some marginal reduction later this week as a result of the slowdown in the city's rate of depreciation against the dollar. And PricewaterhouseCoopers sees strict implementation of the Fiscal Responsibility Act as a solution to budget overruns. The business news on Newsnight is brought to you by MTN Business. Welcome to the new world of business. Kingdom Books and Stationery, Synthestangs, and Pepsodent Herbal and Charcoal. Let's now settle for the details. Now, the price of liquefied petroleum gas is expected to witness some marginal reduction later this week. Now, this is in line with the expected drop in prices of other major petroleum products in the country. Gabriel Kumi is Vice President of the Liquefied Petroleum, that is LPG Market Association.
IES has done the right prediction. LPG is going to be relatively stable. If we are lucky, we are likely to have a little bit of a dip in price. There may be a slight price reduction beginning tomorrow.
And that is the Vice President of the LPG Marketers Association, Gabriel Kumi. The association has also rejected reports that there could be shortage of the product on the market, or there is shortage of the product on the market. Now, some news coming in from the Ghana Gas Company says the Ghana Gas Company wishes to actually bring to the attention of the general public that its gas processing plant and offshore gas export facilities will be shut down from 1st to 17th of August 2024. Now, the shutdown is to enable some critical safety and essential maintenance works to be carried out on the plant. Now, during the shutdown, the period, the lean gas from the Sankofa OTT field will be available for delivery at the Takoradi distribution station. Now, the Ghana Gas Company deeply regrets the inconvenience that the shutdown may bring to the market, and for the LPG, they've given some assurance that there are alternate plans to ensure that there is still supply of products on the market. Now, economist Dr. Patrick Esumi is asking the Bank of Ghana to press ahead with strict regulations aimed at checking the realization of the economy. Now, this was after the governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Ernest Addison, admitted that one of the surest ways to deal with the realization is first to stabilize the city. But Dr. Simmons says that enforcement of these regulations are still key.
Laws have to be enforced for their, for their own right, because a society without law enforcement is, is like a jungle. So the laws have to be enforced. Once they are there, they have to be enforced. But without addressing the fundamental issue that puts the pressure on the currency, enforcing the law is not enough. But I think that's how I interpret the governor to be saying. So yes, if you are laws that says don't price in dollars, those laws have to be enforced, because we have to be a country ruled by laws. What I'm saying further is that maybe you need to tighten those laws further and then ensure the implementation. But even if you tighten the laws and yet the economy is too dependent on imports or is too dependent on foreign finance and people have legitimate claims to demand dollars, that's not going to stop the city from depreciating. So it's good to tighten the laws and enforce them. But that is not the primary solution to the problems that we have.
And that is the economist, Dr. Patrick Esumi. Now, Accra High Court, presided over by Justice Nabru, has dismissed an application for judicial review filed by former director of UMB Bank, that is George Smith Graham, against the Bank of Ghana. Now, giving the judgment in favor of the Bank of Ghana, the court stated that the purpose of its act was to enhance the supervisory role of the Bank of Ghana to ensure some sanity in the banking sector. The court therefore held the view that going this way was the best option to ensure that there is some stability in the banking space. Let's look at other stories. Then Carl Asset Management subsidiary of Carl Bank says that its benefit trust unit value grew by more than 250% year on year to about 16.87 million Ghana cedis, whilst its Advantage unit trust also experienced some 100% increase over the year. According to its chief executive, James Elijah Donko, the foreign component of the securities of the portfolio actually was able to minimize some of the risk that was faced on the market. He spoke to Joy Business at the annual general meeting of these assets under the control of the bank. And that's all for business on the Newsnight. Back to you, Evans.
And John, thank you very much. Now, a new training initiative is equipping conservation practitioners and managers with innovative approaches to preserve and rejuvenate Ghana's endangered tree species and their natural habitats. Over 10% of the country's indigenous tree species are at risk, making the development of effective conservation and restoration tactics in their native environments a pressing necessity. Today's episode of Climate Focus explores the critical need for novel methods to restore and protect Ghana's forests. Has more.
1/5 of the Earth's land surface is degraded, affecting the well-being of over 3 billion people as lakes dry up, forests vanished, and farmlands become dust bowls. To protect both nature and human health, there is a crucial need to restore 1.5 billion hectares of land by 2030.
So it's a team effort.
A specialized course aimed at conservation practitioners and managers focuses on building capacity for on-site conservation of Ghana's endangered tree species, addressing this challenge through a practical and tailored
program.
There's a lot of rainfall going on over there. Then we have the moist evergreen.
Yao Etuahene Yako from the Resource Management Support Center of the Forestry Commission reflects on the past 20 years.
I mean, the forest was in a far better state as we are seeing today. We are supposed as Forestry Commission to be improving on what is there. But there seems to be too much onslaught on the forest now, from all angles.
The training session gathered 20 conservation leaders aimed at inspiring them to ensure forests are conserved. Dr. Rosie Trevelyan, director of the Tropical Biological Association, emphasizes that successful restoration requires collective effort and involvement.
So we're aiming to give people the tools, some inspiration, and some of the science behind our current views on forest restoration.
Meanwhile, INEC Ghana has already restored 120 hectares of degraded land with plans to restore an additional 240 hectares in 2024 using native species. David Kwarteng serves as the executive director of the organization.
The communities get opportunity to plant crops, then to be able to feed their families.
Organizations such as Arocha Ghana and Goshen Global Vision are leading various initiatives aimed at environmental protection through sustainable practices.
So my name is Hobson Eli Etra. I work with Arocha Ghana as the Chebi Landscape Manager. As part of the Franklina project, we are looking at 19 species that are endangered, 3 species that are endangered, and how to strengthen their needs and their use in the communities.
Effective restoration planning course involves anticipating project impacts, comprehending the ecological links in forest restoration for sustainable conservation resource, selecting appropriate restoration methods for different situations, monitoring effects, and emphasizing the significance of safeguarding Ghana's vulnerable tree species. Forest protectors are urged to undo the damage caused by Ghanaian communities, giving their children and future generations a chance at a better future.
I really think that the people on this course have the ability to solve the forest conservation and restoration issues in Ghana.
A report by Mohamed Nuruddin.
And Climate Focus is brought to you in partnership with Youth Bridge Foundation and the Climate Development Knowledge Network.
Let's do sports. Danny Cranting is here, and the conversations you people have in the background. Yeah, okay.
There's some confusion in Team Nigeria's camp now. After Akufo-Addo, one of their athletes, expressed her disappointment and frustration after being omitted from the women's 100-meter event at the ongoing Paris 2024 Olympic Games. This exclusion has been attributed to the negligence of both the Athletics Federation of Nigeria and the Nigerian Olympic Committee. However, in a shocking twist, Ofili's name appeared to be on the final list submitted to the Nigerian Olympic Committee by the Athletics Federation of Nigeria. The Nigerian Sports Minister, Senator Johnny Waneno, has confirmed that an internal investigation is ongoing to get to the bottom of the matter. Still, the Olympics and Novak Djokovic and Carlos Alcaraz are through to the quarterfinals of the tennis men's singles event at the Games.
Congratulations to them, Danny. Thank you for sports. Now, the Queen Mother of the Dinyasi Huntado Paramount area in the Ashanti region has made a strong case for traditional authorities to play a role in fighting illegal mining across Ghana. Nana Educhewa Buning III has been sharing her efforts in warding off illegal miners who have attempted to destroy lands in her jurisdiction. There's more in the second edition of the Poison for Gold Community Tour by Erastus Osaridonko and the team.
Dinyasi Manhema Nana Aduchua Bonin III used a strong stance against illegal mining in the community to emphasize the role of traditional authorities in the fight against illegal mining.
I will impound or demobilize your equipment if I have to. If I tell you to move and you don't, I will find any means possible to get your attention.
Say Cromudie estate because stopom prenu or say a election year instruction from above.
Some are saying it's an election year in an issue which occurred at Sekrom. I had to stop them twice. On the third attempt, they said it's an election year. Instructions from above.
Election year.
I also said it's an election year, but I'm the Queen Mother of Denyase and custodian of the land, and it won't happen on my watch.
We need to me.
If I give you land to work on, you have no right to lease the land to illegal miners. Nobody has that right.
She was speaking at the public showing of the Tree version of Poison for Gold, a Joy News hotline documentary. The second edition of the Poison for Gold community tour, which was held in the Ashanti regional town of Denyase Huntado, attracted mixed reactions about factors fueling Galamsey. I'm sad after watching the documentary. If the pollution from Galamsey can make us sick, even just by swimming in the polluted water, what can we do to protect ourselves?
Says China for a boom, some essay and say,
We are here blaming the Chinese for Galamsey, but if some of our leaders are not supporting them, can they do what they are doing? The Galamsey is rampant in this area. But people in government are also involved. We know police personnel who assist Chinese miners to do Galamsey. How do we stop illegal mining when security agents and political actors are involved? Deputy Crime Officer for Ashanti South Office of the Ghana Police Service, ASP Princeton Piasa Dakwa, prevailed on community leaders to call illegal miners to order. We cannot say that there is nobody in this room who is not engaged in Galamsey. You cannot say there's nobody in this room who has given his land out for Galamsey. When you do all that, do you blame police or the Queen Mother? One man said somebody has announced that if somebody wants to mine gold on his land, they should come to the palace. Is the palace a police station? Those engaged in Galamsey are our relatives. What are we telling them to stop? The Poison for Gold community tour is sponsored by the Voice of America, USAGM, and the U.S. Department of State, Bureau of Oceans, International and Scientific Affairs, Office of Conservation and Water.
And you're live here on News Night. It's on Joy 99.7 FM, and we are your election headquarters. Election headquarters is brought to you by Petrosol, clean fuel in full quantity. CIMA, the Chartered Institute of Management Accountants, AICPA, and CIMA, together as the Association of International Certified Professional Accountants, Chopbox Technologies, a convenient service, and Youth Bridge Foundation, bridging gaps for positive youth development.
And tonight, National Security Minister Albert Kandapai is sounding the alarm on looming chaos ahead of the 2024 elections, citing grave security concerns. He expressed deep worry over the eroding trust in the judicial system among political parties, saying the 2024 elections will be a litmus test for the country's electoral integrity. We'll get to hear from him shortly, but first listen to the commentary of some top members of both the NDC and NPP go at each other on separate platforms, vowing to win the elections at all costs.
7th of December 2024, the new MPP presidential candidate is going to win the election of 2024. Are going to be shaken if again, through our own fault, we allow the path to progress to be diverted.
We will not sleep until Madam Jean Mensah has the unpleasant duty of naming NDC as the winners, whether the Electoral Commission officers like it or not. Inshallah, they will have to declare NDC as winners of the election. I'm not going to the Supreme Court because I know I'm not going to lose.
You cannot stop us. You cannot stop us. We are winning. Tell the NDC people, we have 1 million ways to win 2024 elections.
Well, speaking at the forum on violent extremism and peace, Kandapar highlighted that leading political figures increasingly doubt the court's ability to deliver justice in election disputes. He's calling for a transparent electoral system that can be trusted by all political actors and citizens.
Yes, we have succeeded as a country in ensuring a transition of power from one political party to another on more than 2 occasions since the inception of the Fourth Republic. The electoral processes leading to the transitions have not been devoid of pockets of violence. I must acknowledge, however, that the decisions by political parties to resort to the courts to address their grievances over electoral outcomes have aided in preventing a full-blown electoral crisis. The 2024 general elections will certainly test the strength of our democracy, our ability to prevent electoral violence given the high stakes involved, where the 2 major political parties appear convinced about their prospects of emerging victorious. That obviously creates a security challenge for me, where I sit. We may, for the first time, experience a situation where none of the major political parties will be willing to explore the courts to address their grievances. And indeed, I've heard some senior people in the political space saying that they have lost faith in the court's ability to address their concerns when it comes to elections. So this can create a situation that can set the stage for chaos. And it underscores the need for us to build a robust and transparent electoral system where results coming from same will be acceptable by all parties as a way of guaranteeing peace before, during, and after the elections.
Well, he can hear from the Director of Training at the Electoral Commission, Dr. Srebo Okweku, talking about the issue of restoration of trust in the electoral process.
Like we have always been saying, elections are won at the polling stations. So the voting takes place in the polling station. Counting is there, done there, results are declared there. If you don't have any issue with the results declared at the polling station, then you shouldn't have any challenge in the collation system, because you can do your own collation and compare that with the lot of the electoral commission. So all the political parties, my advice to them is that they should get the copies of the polling station results. Then when they get that, then they can follow the collation, because at the collation, if it is the constituency level, they'll be calling the results from the polling station and they'll be tabulating. So if you have the results and you know that you had 10 and they're saying you had 5, you challenge with your sheet. So
and that's it.
Exactly so. What we have been doing is always to use the law to work. And what we have been doing is also involve the stakeholders to be with us. You can bear with me, like Joy, before even the commission will come out with the results, you would have already projected it. Is that not the case? So when you've projected it, have we ever had anything contrary to what you projected? So if the commission, if the media people were to have different results from us, then you can say that our results should be trusted. But the media were always ahead of us, because you can use WhatsApp and the rest to get your results. And at the end of the day, your results tally with ours.
Another Srebo Okweku.
Yeah, speaking to us on that. It will be also on the Joy News channel for Joy News Prime. But let's focus on PNC.
I guess who's back?
Bernard Mona.
The Gen Z. Well, he's a former national chairman of the People's National Convention, Bernard Mona, and he's vowing to lead the party to victory in the December polls and break the MPP-NDC duopoly as he launches his presidential bid. Now, Mr. Mona says he will put the youth at the forefront of his presidency, ensuring the creation of jobs to reduce the high levels of youth unemployment. Can I just see his more in the following report?
During his campaign launch, Bernard Mona outlined his vision for the nation, emphasizing a commitment to transforming the political landscape. A central pillar of Mona's presidential bid is his pledge to prioritize the youth. He plans to make job creation a top priority, recognizing that youth unemployment is a critical challenge in the country.
Ghana is currently facing a multitude of challenges. One, high levels of unemployment, making many youth predisposed to crime. This situation was not when Kwame Nkrumah was president. Indeed, the United Nations had predicted that by the year 1970, Ghana will be employing people from China, from the United States, and other parts of the world because of the grand agenda Kwame Nkrumah was pursuing. Today, majority of Ghanaian youth cannot find jobs. This is a sad reminder of where we have started from.
The former chairman of the PNC also pledged to transform Ghana's economy from an import-driven to an export-driven model. According to him, this economic policy aims to reduce the country's dependence on imported goods and boost export capacity, thereby strengthening the nation's economic resilience and creating more opportunities for local industries.
Coated flat-rolled iron that costs $410 million annually. Cars that cost $358 million annually. Rice, emo, mui. Just food that we eat, rice. We import rice to the tune of $318 million into this country annually. Ladies and gentlemen, anytime you import rice worth $318 million into the country, you have denied the young people of this country employment to the tune of $318 million.
With a focus on the youth and a commitment to comprehensive reform, Mona aims to bring about change that will benefit all Ghanaians. The coming months will reveal how his campaign resonates with the electorate and whether he can indeed break the NDC MPP duopoly.
Bernard Mona, signing us out of tonight's edition of News Tonight. There's more when you log on to myjoyonline.com. I am Emefa Apau.
And my name is Evans Mensah.